Ladies and gentlemen, many in India have whitewashed the Hindu genocide that took place in Kashmir, but former President of United States, Donald Trump, in a big message of intent, revealed that he will build a Holocaust memorial for Hindus if elected to power. For the very first time, a stalwart political figure from the West has accepted that Hinduphobia is real. Donald Trump's statement is seen as an outreach to the Hindu community across the United States, which is seen as the deciding factor in many U.S. states. Listen in.
They said, what did you think of 2020 compared to 2016? I said, well, we did much better in 2020.
Yep.
Yes. We had support from the Hindu population, the great Hindu people, Bhutan, and great support from India, people from India. I fully endorse the idea of building a Hindu Holocaust memorial in D.C. I totally do. I think it's time.
But the lobby that has ignored the pain of Hindus continues to be in a state that they have always been in, and that is denial. They call Trump's speech as divisive. Listen in to this lobby.
I want to remind Mr. Donald Trump that India is not only about Hindus. India is a country which is known for its unity and diversity, where people of different sect, different religion, caste live together. So by this statement, he is undermining the sacrifices made by the people of this country for this great nation. He is undermining the sacrifice made by many Muslims, many Sikhs.
आज जो हालात बदले हैं, दुनिया के दो बड़े लोकतंत्र, एक तरफ अमेरिका में कमला हैरिस का वहां वाइस प्रेसिडेंट चुना जाना, दूसरी तरफ भारतीय मूल के ऋषि सुनक का ब्रिटेन के तख्त पर, ब्रिटेन के प्रधानमंत्री पद पर आसीन होना, ये दो ऐसे बड़े निर्णय हैं जो मैं समझता हूं वो हिंदुस्तानी मूल के एकजुटता के कारण संभव हो पाए।
उसके डिविसिव पॉलिटिक्स का पार्ट है, वो ये भूल रहा है कि भारत देश जो है इसमें डाइवर्सिटी है। यहाँ का हिंदू, यहाँ का मुसलमान, यहाँ का सिख, यहाँ का ईसाई, हर एक कम्युनिटी का इस देश को बनाने में बहुत बड़ा बलिदान है, सेक्रीफाइस है, कंट्रीब्यूशन है। आप किसी एक कम्युनिटी को पकड़ के आगे नहीं ले जा सकते।
You're watching the News Hour at 9, debate number 2 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
Joining me on the debate with Shazia Ilmi is Sanjay Jha, author. Sanjay Jha, Hinduphobia is something that this country is afflicted from. If you go by certain people who've never believed or had any space for discussing or talking about the faults of the past and the genocide in Kashmir. Today, it is Donald Trump whose words we hear and his solidarity with Hindus in the United States that should really open the eyes. Do you agree with that?
Well, Navika, with due respects, but Donald Trump is actually being investigated by the US government and by the Ministry of Justice there for probably trying to stage a coup against his own government while he was the president of the United States. So I don't know whether he has the credibility or the authenticity to comment on, the dynamics of another country. I mean, he's an extremely checkered, questionable, and in my personal opinion, a very dubious political figure. Now, let me extend this forward. With due respects to Mr. Donald Trump, he suffers from a very severe Islamophobia. I think the world knows about it. And it is extremely, in my opinion, scandalous and shocking that when he was the president, our own Mr. Modi's government actually did a propaganda for his presidential campaign by saying, "Ab ki baar Trump Sarkar," and we had a lot of right-wing zealots and a lot of passionate Hindutva fanatics who actually promoted Donald Trump as the savior of Indo-US relationships. So, it is clearly tinged with some extremely deep visceral politics. And I would recommend, in all fairness and probably the earnestness, not to take Donald Trump too seriously. I believe he mocks India. And I think Shazia Ilmi and the BJP need to explain to the people of India, how are you so cool or tolerant or extremely, kind of blasé about the fact that the former US president is talking about Hindu when he should be talking about India. This is a multicultural, pluralistic country. And how is the BJP and everybody else absolutely aggressively...
Shazia Ilmi, Sanjay Jha is the doctor who can from so many miles away, thousands of miles away, figure out Islamophobia. But when he speaks his own words, he doesn't realize that his Hinduphobia is really something that he wears on his sleeve. Shazia?
So if there is a issue of credibility of Donald Trump vis-a-vis the US government and the investigation, various presidents have been under investigation, and there are charges against Joe Biden and his son too. So without getting into that, the fact of the matter is that the former president of the US is recognizing something that has happened on Indian soil and has not been talked about, that there have been targeted killings, Hindu lynchings and murders done on the basis of religion against our Hindu brothers, and that nobody talks about it. I'm appalled, in fact, at Sanjay Jha, your choice of words when you say that why should Donald Trump talk only about talk about India and not only about Hindus. Did you hear? Were you appalled when Justin Trudeau made a big song and dance about what was happening during the Sikh farmers' protest in Delhi? And that so many countries were actually curious about the CAA protest, when the fact of the matter was that was all bunkum and had nothing to do with any Muslim in India. So you were quiet and not appalled, but now you're appalled that something true that has happened in India. There's something we all are ashamed of. And I speak as not just as an Indian, but as a Muslim citizen, that it has happened on a soil. And we have so many people whose testimonies are there, that there has been not just clear lynchings, but driving out an exodus of our Hindu brothers, Kashmiri Pandits. And something that is still going on, and that is being backed. And also I've been with Donald Trump for the simple reason that it puts Pakistan on the mat and demonstrates the terrorism that is being exported from that country. So I'm very glad that the former president of none less than United States is saying this.
And Sanjay Jha, I want to ask you, to many from your...
That there is a...
Yeah, and Sanjay Jha, from many from your ilk actually have called Jai Shri Ram as a war cry. But there has been no word, no condemnation of Sar Tan Se Juda, which is said ever so often. Now, isn't that Hinduphobia also?
Navika, let me tell you that this was a government of Mr. Modi which did the biggest diplomatic blunder in talking about Ab Ki Baar Trump Sarkar. I mean, not a single political leader in the world interferes in the election campaign of another country.
Nobody said that. It is Ab Ki Baar Modi Sarkar.
Can I speak without your interruption, madam?
You are totally lying, sir.
Please?
Can I speak without your interruption? Okay, it's not said by the Modi.
Okay, Shazia Ilmi, allow him to speak. Allow him to speak, and then you can rebut him. Allow him to speak.
Yeah, it's a mammoth shame that Mr. Modi's government went and campaigned for Donald Trump. It showed its extremely parochial, petty politics, and I think, frankly, invited ridicule for Mr. Modi.
No,
personally.
that did
now,
not
let me
happen.
answer your question.
You're repeating yourself, sir. You're using more and more adjectives. Sir, you're using more and more adjectives.
Can you describe what is not even a fact. Calm down. I insist on finishing what I have to say.
No, I will not calm down because you must calm down on your adjectives.
It is still happening.
You're using synonyms and adjectives to describe something that did not happen.
Well,
Navika, why are you encouraging you to intervene?
Can I come in now?
Shazia Ilmi, 30. I have 1 minute on the show. 30 seconds to Sanjay Jha and then 30 seconds to you, Shazia. Sanjay Jha, complete your point.
So my basic point is, look at what the Supreme Court has said to Mr. Modi's government on hate speech, religious polarization. Supreme Court says it is tragic what is happening in India. Supreme Court says, is this a 20th century India? Look at what the UN Secretary General has commented on human rights violations in the country, especially against the minorities. And how can Shazia Ilmi come here and pretend everything is okay? And the Kashmiri political exodus is happening as we talk.
Shazia respond. Of course, Sanjay Jha forgets the fact. Sanjay Jha forgets the fact that some people like him actually said about the Kashmir files as a jhooty film, as if the ethnic cleansing did not happen in Jammu and Kashmir. But Shazia, your response to Sanjay?
That's true. Yes, please allow me to give my response. Sanjay Jha, it's a matter of great shame that you represent a party which, on whose watch, from Nelli massacre to Bhagalpur to Maliana to Hashimpura and Sikh riots have happened, that you can talk about the riots, and your masters have been watching in glee, in complete glee. Let me finish. No. I do not care what the Secretary General says, but various courts of India, including the Supreme Court, what they have said on all the massacres and all the commissions and all the commissions of inquiry have said many times about your government and the complete communal policies and deliberate rioting that has taken place under the watch of all the Gandhis. They have been your prime ministers, and even during Narasimha Rao's time. Please do not get me started that, and do not sit on this moralistic chair.
Ladies and gentlemen, Islamophobia is often something that is associated with the government at the center. But why do people not talk about the Hinduphobia that exists even after Donald Trump? You may not like him. You may call about investigations that are going on about him. But very often, you speak about those who are under investigation themselves, and they are held as icons in political parties back home. So question really here is that Islamophobia is recognized, but Hinduphobia, there is no acknowledgement or recognition. And today, it is Donald Trump's words that have shown a mirror to those in that lobby back home in India. We'll leave it at that. Thank you very much, Sanjay Jha and Shazia Ilmi, for joining me on the Newshour tonight. Thank you, viewers, for being with me. I'll see you back on Monday. Same time, same place, same show, the Newshour at 9.